from the moment they realized they were trapped. Each hour underground was agony. They tried everything to get out, but it just made things worse. In the end, it took 76 hours for them to be rescued. But this is not a war story. These people weren't soldiers. This isn't even a horror story. These were just ordinary people. Well, maybe not so ordinary after all. This is the Nutty Putty Cave tragedy, one of the strangest stories of survival ever recorded. Let's start at the beginning. It's Saturday, November 2009. In the small town of Utah, a group of 13 friends have decided to do something a little different that day. They're going exploring, not just exploring, specifically exploring the Nutty Putty Cave, a narrow crevice in the rocky terrain that is famous among locals as one of the most difficult caves to traverse in the whole state. The cave has been explored many times before, but no one has ever fully mapped it. So these 13 friends thought they'd give it a go. They're an experienced bunch. All of them are above the age of 25. And between them, they have dozens of caving expeditions under their belts. None of them are professional cavers, but none of them are newbies either. For such a challenging expedition, there are only 2 rules. No one goes in alone, and everyone stays together. They all agree to bring helmets, headlamps, and plenty of water, and then off they go. The Nutty Putty Cave is named after the clay-like material that covers its walls. It's got a narrow entrance, barely big enough for a person to fit through. This opening leads into a narrow shaft that twists and turns deep into the ground. There are some places where the ceiling is low enough that you can touch both sides at once. That's why they call it the Little Crack. The cave is full of these passages, twisting and turning until you can't tell which way is up or down. Because of the narrow tunnels, everyone has to move like a snake, squeezing through the passages on their stomachs. The cave is also pitch black, so everyone uses their helmet lamps to see where they're going. These explorers aren't doing this for fun. They're actually trying to find the end of the cave. Even though it's been explored many times before, nobody knows how far it goes. Some parts of the cave are very easy to navigate. Other parts require squeezing through narrow passages. Other parts are too high to climb without ropes. This means that sometimes the group has to split up and send smaller teams further into the cave. When that happens, they tie ropes across the passages so they can pull themselves back if needed. They keep going deeper and deeper. It takes some hours. But eventually, they reach a place no human being has ever seen before. The 13 explorers split into 3 teams. One team continues forward. Another stays behind as security in case something goes wrong. And another begins the long journey back to the entrance. At some point, the team at the front finds a passage that looks promising. It's big enough to stand up in. So they remove their helmets and headlamps to make it easier to move around. Unfortunately, the passage doesn't lead anywhere. It's a dead end. So the 3 cavers turn around and make their way back to the main group. When they pass the spot where they left their gear, they grab their helmets and headlamps and continue back to the entrance. After a while, one of them realizes that his headlamp is missing. He turns back to go get it. But when he reaches the spot where they left the gear, it's gone. In fact, all their gear is gone. Where did it go? What happened? Did someone steal it? The cavers don't have time to look for answers. They need to get out of the cave, and fast. But when they move forward, they realize something even more terrifying. The passage ahead is completely blocked by boulders. They try pushing them aside, but they won't budge. There's no other way around. This is a dead end. With no way out and no lights, the cavers panic. They scream and yell, but no one can hear them. They crawl and climb until they find an opening. It's narrow, but it looks promising. Maybe it will lead to an air shaft, or at least a wider passage. But when they squeeze through, they find themselves in a place that looks exactly the same as the last one. It's a dead end. They try again, crawling and climbing until they find another opening. But it's the same thing. Dead end. The cavers are desperate now. They need to get out of there, but they don't know how. Meanwhile, the other groups are having their own problems. The group staying back, as security finds that the passage behind them has also been blocked by boulders, they're trapped, and the group on the way back from the front has found that the passage ahead is also blocked. They're trapped too. Every single person in this cave is trapped. They try calling out for help, but there's no answer. The cavers pour out their water bottles and ration it out as best they can. One of them begins crying. Someone asks if they should take off their clothes to help conserve body heat, but no one wants to. Eventually, the cavers settle down and begin talking about what might happen to them. Some of them think they'll be rescued soon. Others think they'll die of starvation or dehydration. Still, others think they'll never get out alive. Outside, the rescuers are getting ready. A search party had been organized for late that night when the group didn't show up. As the hours go by, more and more rescuers arrive. By the next afternoon, there are over 100 rescuers outside the cave. They've brought in cameras, lights, food, water, and even dogs. But so far, no one has been able to get inside. They can't fit through the narrow passages, and the cavers are too deep inside to hear anything going on outside. The rescuers decide to drill a hole into the cave using heavy machinery. It takes them hours, but finally, they break through. The rescuers drop cameras and lights into the hole, but the cavers are still too deep inside to see anything. Finally, the rescuers get close enough to see the cavers. They shine the lights on their faces and the cavers look back in amazement. The rescuers have finally found them. But now comes the hard part. Getting them out. The rescuers lowered the cavers one by one, bringing them closer and closer to the surface. After 76 long hours, the last caver is brought out. All 13 are alive. 4 of them have serious injuries, and all of them need medical attention. But, miraculously, all 13 survived. The Nutty Buddy Cavers became world famous. Overnight, they gave interviews, appeared on TV shows, and even wrote a book about their experience. Later, the cavers got together and decided that instead of suing for damages, they would raise money for the search and rescue teams and donate it to charity. As for the cave itself, it's still there, waiting for the next group of explorers.